Hello everybody! We are here with another week's predictions. Week 4 SPL predictions. We can't actually see how well we did last week. It wasn't that well. I think we got like 6 out of 11 or 5 out of 10 or something. It wasn't that great, but if we wanted to go back and look and see what's up, we could look back at our schedule. There's nothing here, but we could go back to particularly week blah 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 blah. Some of my favorite SPL plays happened around the time of the blah blah. But luckily, we still have our week 4 right here, so we can still do them. We just can't look at past weeks right now. Blah 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 blah. So, looking at our first game of the week, we have Luminosity versus Denial Esports. Blah, 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 blah. Denial doing pretty well this split. Could be better, could be worse. They're not, hating life right now. 4-4 is not bad. Luminosity, of course, had that hard start against Enemy. Enemy Esports, though, the #1 team in North America right now. So the fact that they lost to #1 doesn't really mean that much right now, considering they're looking to be a strong #2. They've been coming out extremely powerful in these last weeks. And I would expect them to take this 2-0 over Denial with their... They've improved so much from that first week, particularly Snoopy. I think Snoopy was their weak point in that week 1. And now that Snoopy is really on point, they don't have any weak spots in their roster, which means that it's not really for... They're never going to make a mistake, really, right? You're not going to see LG just make a mistake. You're going to have to outplay them, and that's going to be hard as hell to do for any team. So... that's going to be a hard one. ALG versus the Randozos. The Randozos, the only team in North America to not win a game yet. Team Allegiance having just gone a split with Team Envious, one of the top 3 teams in North America. I expect this to go 2-0 the way of Allegiance. Allegiance recently having a roster swap, which is benefiting the team greatly and contributed to their 1-1 split versus Envy. And this will be the first time that they should win a series 2-0 over Randozos, expected to maintain 0 wins so far for the split. Yes, I know that I'm on Team Allegiance, but it's easier to be unbiased when you talk in third person. Okay, moving onward. Blah, 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 blah. Team Eager versus Sora Gaming. Eager having a very strong roster, but having a fairly weak start to the split. Really, almost every person on the team you see, you look at them and you know they're strong in their position. Zapman in particular having an extremely strong season so far. Sora Gaming, on the other hand, kicking ass. Possibly the best team synergy team in the world right now. They could be even better than Panthera as far as team synergy goes. Maybe not individual mechanics. But I do give this 2-0 the way of Sora Gaming. But that could lean towards a split, but I don't expect Sora to lose both. Panthera losing their first game. Just the other day to Cringe Crew. Of course, these now we're into our Friday games, guys. Hungry for more, though. Not going to be at that level of Cringe Crew. As long as Panthera shows up, they're going to take that 2-0, no problems. Dig versus the Leftovers. Now, this is interesting. Leftovers have more games under their belt. Dignitas, they're 2 games short right now. Both of these teams not looking terrible. Both are looking maybe to go towards mid-pack, depending on how the rest of the split goes, especially this game right here. This is a fairly safe game, I would say, to go split. That could very much go either way. Both of those teams could take a game. If you were going to go 2-0, I would give it to Dig, but I'm going to go ahead and give that split. Paradigm versus Cringe Crew. So, Paradigm was expected to be the solid #2 with no issues. At the start of the season, perhaps they thought they may even contest Panthera. As of right now, we really see that there's not much Panthera contention going on. But Cringe Crew, the only ones to contest Panthera, they went ahead and took a game off of them. They have recently lost, of course, their solo laner, though, who got banned for a year for harassment. But it didn't seem to affect them too much against Panthera, considering they took a game off them. But maybe Panthera was taking it lax. They're using a sub. Well, that's not. We don't have to practice this week. I don't know the inner workings, but you never know what happened there. I would still expect this to go 2-0 the way of Paradigm. But it could be a split. I would do majority, 2-0 Paradigm. But if you're not feeling it, split is not a terrible decision either. Okay, moving onwards. Fnatic versus Torpedo. Fnatic having a terrible start to this split in terms of how people thought they were going to do. I think a lot of people probably thought Fnatic was going to be that number 3 seed, having still quite a bit of their main roster left, but just not showing up this split right now. Torpedo Gaming, of course, they have Game Hunter on their team, most notably. Still not super impressed with showings from either team. I'm going to go ahead and give this split. They both seem to be playing around the same level right now. We have Fnatic again versus Hungry for More. This game could be very dependent on how the previous one goes. If Torpedo wins this 2-0, then this next game opens up. Otherwise, I think Fnatic takes it 2-0 over Hungry for More. But if you're going to be around on the day and you're watching those previous games and you see Torpedo Gaming take it 2-0, maybe that brings down Fnatic's morale. Playing 2 in a row, you may want to switch it up a little bit. But assuming that Fnatic splits or even could win both, I give them both for the next set as well. If they won both in both these sets, though, that would bring the record up to 6-6, which would not be terrible in the European region. It would actually be great for giving them a shot at continuing their LAN hopes. So, Enemy versus Envy. That should be a kick-ass game. This should be a sick game. One of the better games of the week. In fact, both of our Sunday games and our Monday games should all be fun to watch. Enemy, the number 1 team right now in North America. Only dropping 1 game so far. Envy playing well, but not great. Well, but not great. I think people expected, because Envy has the all-star roster of time outside of maybe their jungler. Mast, has been around the SPL scene, but he's not like, you don't look at him and go, wow, that's like Andy, or that's like adapting, right? He's not like that kind of pressure in the jungle role. But you look at the other things, you got MLC Stealth, literally the only guy in the game that has a skin based off of him in-game. Omega has won the World Championship, and he won a tournament on Xbox as well. Kiki and Cyclone, of course, duo laning together, and they've been on a team together for so long. And then, they have Max, who's a good player, but he's not, like, that renowned yet. But, Enemy on the other side, of course, Pain de Viande, the man himself, who just goes, you know what, I hate my team, everybody out. All y'all new guys in. Okay, y'all new guys, here's the option. I just kicked my old team that I played with for a long time. Yeah, you got that? So I played them for a long time. I just kicked them all. Think about how fast I'm going to kick your ass if you don't win right now. And they're like, oh, shit, man, we got to win right now. We got to win right now. And so, as is such, they are 7-1. But I am going to give this the way of split. I think both of those teams are going to be excellent, and I think it should be a fantastic series. Luminosity versus Soar. This should be another great set. There should be another great set. Luminosity, honestly, could end up being the number 1 team in North America. I expect them to end up number 2 at the least. Enemy very well has placed himself into a spot to be top 3. So top 3, I'm looking at Enemy, Luminosity, and then Envy or Soar Gaming between those two. So it's going to be a big deal to see who comes up between those two, which means this can be a very important set for Soar, and of course that game against Enemy is going to be very important for Envy. But I'm going to go ahead and give this the way of split 2. all of these teams right here so close in skill. It should be some great games. And the crazy thing about this season is because it's, I don't want to say snowbally, but a little bit snowbally, is these games could both be 50-minute long, like crazy close, but they could also be like 20-minute stomps depending on, invade happens, invade goes wrong, early Gold Fury, sneak, whatever. Because of the pace of this season, there's so many which ways all these games can go, but for the most part, they should end up ties. And finishing up our week, Enemy versus Eager. I think Eager has a very hard schedule this week. Who they faced earlier in the week? They go against Soar and Enemy this week. If they want to keep their land hopes alive, they need to win or at least be splitting these games. But this could easily be a 4-loss week for Eager just because of the strength of the competition that they're going against. Not necessarily any weaknesses on their personal roster, but just that they're going against arguably what's going to end up being 2 of the top 3 teams. It could change depending on how those games go earlier. If Enemy gets stomped by Envy on Sunday, guys, you may want to change your vote here because morale is a big issue. But assuming that they split or win both against Envy, I also give this 2-0 Enemy over Eager, and that's going to wrap up our games for the week. So going back over them, we have LG, ALG, and Soar all winning 2-0. On Friday in our European scene, Panthera, Dig in the leftover splitting, and Paradigm. Moving on to our Saturday games, Fnatic split and a Fnatic win. They played twice in a row on Saturday. Fnatic split and a Fnatic win. Sunday games, double split with a Monday win for Enemy Esports. And that wraps up our prediction, guys. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my picks or if you disagree, why you disagree with them, or if you're just way better at picking than me.